live on your Instagram? Someone already joined.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Let's see. Hold on. No, we're not live just yet on my end. Just on your guys' end.
Watch these. This was like holy cow, you got a bunch of people joining.
Oh, there I go.
Okay, great. Let's go.
Good evening, everyone. Oh. Good evening, everyone. Oh.
And I'll knock. I'll knock on the door once you're ready to go live, okay? Adam, just sort of get ready to be looking pleasantly into this camera here.
Okay, so nothing like...
Do you have stuff on here that you did?
No, there's just some of my notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Adam, what's your...
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Adam Vena Show. I want to say thank you to everyone who is joining, and hopefully this will be a long run for this show. I want to say happy Down with the British Eve. Tomorrow we celebrate our independence from the British, so hopefully everyone will keep all their fingers and all their toes tomorrow, and remember that it only took 3% of the population to overthrow one of the world's biggest armies. With that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody for support through the last year and a half. So some of like I do on all my lives, I always promote one book. Hopefully I'll be promoting more books. But I always promote Lindsey Graham's book, Alphabet Prayers for Toddlers. It's a great book with a lot of the stuff that we've got going on, and a lot of the books that they're pushing in the schools, in the libraries. And if you're looking for something that's really wholesome and good, I urge everyone to please go over to, I believe her website is Pretty Little Patriot, and you can pick up one of these books. Some of the illustrations in here are great. They've got Bible verses for every letter of the alphabet, and that's Lindsey Graham, the Patriot Barbie's book, and I'm really grateful for Lindsay. She sent this to me, autographed it, and she put to Aiden, love your dad in here. And I bought this for Aiden for his Christmas birthday, for his Christmas present last year. So I never would have expected me to be sitting in this position on a podcast, anything like that. And it's been about 4 or 5 months. It's something that I really wanted to do. Talk about my story, and shed light onto a lot of the stuff that's going on here in the United States. What's going on what's going on with parents, and basically the war on parents and the war on our children. And I really wanted to bring some insight into that. What's going on? I'm going to have a lot of guests on that are really. I'm trying to get some really good guests. I'm working really hard behind the scenes to get really good content, really good guests to really open the eyes to parents, to people all over the United States on what's really going on here in California. As we all know, what happens in California kind of overflows into other states. So I really want to touch to people that don't live in California that are kind of, well, this could never happen to me. But I really want to show what they're doing to kids here in California and what they're doing to parents. I truly believe that parents are under attack, but the same with children are under attack, and our children are really, really under attack. And I have one guest that I'm really hoping to have on that he's going to really be able to shed some light into a lot of this stuff that's going on. I'm also going to get real personal on some of my stories, on me personally. I'm also going to bring in some of the stuff that I really, really enjoy doing that I haven't been able to do over the last, 2-3 years because I've been so focused on saving my son and doing other stuff besides that. So I'm going to have guests on. Everything is not going to be doom and gloom. We've got so much doom and gloom going on here in California and in the United States that I want to bring some positive outlooks to a lot of stuff. So I'm going to look for guests that are going to bring positive outlooks. That way everything is not so doom and gloom. But everything is going to be tied. Everything that I talk about is going to be tied into parents. Everything is going to be tied in with children and how we can better protect our kids. What's going on here in California. One of the things that I'm going to be heavily talking about, I'm not going to get it too involved tonight, but it's going to be the CAO Act. And this act is really going to help a lot of parents, and this act is going to really help a lot of kids. And this is one thing that myself, Mom Army, Dad Army, and a whole host of other people are going to be really pushing this CAO Act. So stay tuned for more details. I have a gentleman coming on in August to talk about the CAO Act, and it's going to shed more light. I'll post when that gentleman is going to come on, but you're going to be hearing a lot about this. So along with Lindsey Graham's book that I post whenever I go live or now when I do a podcast, I'm going to be really posting the CAO Act. I'm going to have a lot of stuff about this coming on. The other things that I really want to talk about, I won't pull up my notes here, is I'm going to bring up corruption in the family court. I'm going to find somebody that's going to help me talk about the corruption in family court, not only with fathers, but with mothers too, because that does happen. I'm also going to find more books for kids. Again, like I've always said, that there's a lot of stuff that is being shoved down our kids' throats, and I'm going to bring other aspects or other books or other apps. I want to find apps for kids. And wholesome apps, more books for kids, more books for parents to read to their kids. And the other few things that I'm going to be talking about is traditional family values. I truly believe that our family values are being pulled from us. And I really want to start bringing back some more traditional family values. I want to bring parents on to talk about some of their traditions that they have in their family. I know in my family we have a whole host of traditions that I absolutely love. Some of them have gone away, but I still love them and I still miss them. I didn't really understand the family values until just recently, but I cherish my family. My family and I are very close, and I want to bring that family aspect to this podcast to talk about traditional family values and really try to raise awareness for conservative family beliefs, bring back the family, figure out ways to bridge that gap so we can bring the family back together again. I want to talk about family court and fathers. It does happen to moms, but I also want to show the corruption when it comes to family court. I can speak about that on my side all day long about the corruption in the family court, how it's just a money grab, how it's just a revolving door. And, if I hear that word continuous one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. I've heard that word continuous for so long. And I absolutely hate that word when it comes to the family court. Also, I'm looking for people that are that know about social media. I want to show the effects that social media have on our kids. We see what happened, what social media did with Chloe and Laura, but this social media is grabbing hold of our kids and not letting go of them. They're being so corrupted by the social media. So I'm looking for somebody who knows about the algorithms, how social media works, how it grabs onto. I mean, I'll be face it. This thing is connected to my head, and it's no good. The phone. I mean, in my situation, the phone, the social media really helped me out to get my word out about my son. So it does have its good parts, but a lot of that stuff that's out there is really bad for the kids. The other thing I want to talk about is good role models for kids. In my opinion, there is no good role models for kids. So I want to talk about good role models, who the kids can look up to these days, because what I see on TV or what I hear on the radio, there's no really good role models to look up to. The other things I want to talk about is being a father or a man in the modern world. I feel that men are really getting beat up. I really truly believe that men need a morale boost and a really good pick me up. I think men have been really kicked to the curb 8 hours a day. I would have learned so much better if I could have gone somewhere and to learn about these things. So social media is going to be, and the biggest one for me, another big one is going to be gender ideology. I'm going to bring somebody on that can really tie everything together about what gender ideology is. I don't know, and I'm in the fight for my son, but I really want to bring somebody on who really knows gender ideology, what it is, queer theory. I'm going to bring somebody on that really knows the queer theory, to help parents. I'm trying to find a way to help parents, especially the parents that live here in California, that hold on to the conservative values, that hold on to traditional Christian beliefs, and their kids, they have a perfect family at home, but then you send them to school and then they get this almost like this indoctrination at school. And I want to tie what they're teaching our kids in school and try to find a way to help parents, what's the word I'm looking for, to help them when something like this comes up in schools. What's some of the other stuff I'm going to be talking about? Oh, I'm going to bring, some of my passions in life are golf, hunting, fishing, and cigars. And I used to hunt when I was a kid. I want to tie hunting and kids together. Golf, I love golf. Some people may not like golf, but I absolutely love golf. I was on a live with Alex Pilecki, and he's running for Congress for taught in schools. So I really want to do something on patriotism. Homeschooling is another thing I talked about, is the homeschooling aspect of all this. I think the way we're going to save our kids is with homeschooling. And again, the CAO Act, the corruption in family court. I love guns, even though my guns were taken away from me because of everything that's going on. I still have a true passion for our Second Amendment. If it wasn't for the Second Amendment, we wouldn't be here right now. So I really want to talk about the Second Amendment, what it means to people here in the United States. Even though everything was taken away from me, all my guns were taken away from me, the Second Amendment is dear and true to my heart. And I want to talk more about that also when it comes to, but also bring that into the aspect for kids too. And when is it a good time to introduce your kids to the Second Amendment, how to introduce it to them, talking about gun safety, all that kind of stuff. So that's one other thing that I'm going to do. other thing is role models. Again, I want to talk about what characteristics make a good role model. Again, I don't think we have enough. My role models were John Wayne, MacArthur, Patton, all these great generals, all these great leaders in our great history. Those were the people that I looked up to. Too bad I couldn't join the military. It was always a great passion of mine to serve in the United States military, but some unfortunate circumstances came up that I was not able to join the military, and we will get into those topics throughout the podcasts. I also want to talk again about the demasculation of men. I think men are being demasculated, and it's frowned upon. People use the word toxic masculinity, and I want to talk about that stuff. I really want to do a morale boost for men. What are the other things that I want to talk about? So those are the type of things that I really hold, that I really want to. I apologize, guys. I'm nervous. I'm rushing through this kind of stuff. But those are the things I want to bring to the table. Those are my goals. Those are my ambitions for this podcast. Where will it take me? I don't know. But I can promise that I'm going to, and if you guys can drop a comment in either the Adam Vena shows, Instagram on topics that you would like to hear talked about in the Adam Vena Instagram, please drop your comments there, and we can discuss, and we can talk about whatever everybody wants to talk about. But I really want to keep it towards the parents and towards the kids, because as we know, the parents are under absolute attack. We've got AB 1955 that is going to keep secrets from parents. I've always said that I want to know, if I had my son and he stubbed his toe in school, I want to know about it. That's how minor that I want to know. But we have people in Sacramento that are writing bills to keep secrets from parents, and that's not right. We've got AB 1955. We've got the SB 107 that makes California a transgender sanctuary state. We've got AB 665. That's where a 12-year-old can now emancipate himself from the parents and be put into a group home. Again, I don't know all the details on these bills, but I'm going to bring these to your guys' attention if you guys don't know about. And I've got some really, really good people that to talk about it or answer. I just kind of wanted to keep this live short and let everybody know what my goals are for this podcast. So yeah, let me see if I'm missing anything in my notes here. So I got the traditional family values, family traditions. I don't know if I mentioned it. One of the topics I'm going to talk about is our school districts failing our kids, how and why. How are they failing our kids, if they're failing our kids? And so hopefully I can bring people on that are going to be able to talk about that kind of stuff. But that is what my ambitions, that's what my goals are for this podcast. I really want to, again, bring attention. I keep repeating myself, but I really want to bring attention to all these topics, and not that much doom and gloom, and to save my son. That's the other reason why I'm doing this. My son just turned 6 on the 25th of this month. Of June. We are in July now, and June was the most absolute difficult time for me. I mean, Christmas, everything else like that, but Father's Day and his birthday were extremely difficult for me. Knowing that he is being brainwashed, knowing that he is being groomed to be something that he is not. I've always said it in the past. My son never wanted to be this way. I've asked his grandparents numerous of times, did you ever see anything in Aiden that you might have thought, yeah, he wants to be a girl? And there was nothing. And that's why I know that my son has been groomed this way, from the mother to the therapist to the doctors at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, to the judges, to all the attorneys that are involved. They have pushed this upon my son, and therapists. They have pushed this on my son. And that's why I am fighting so hard for my son because I know this is something that he did not want to be. And it's really, really disheartening to go to sleep and wake up every night and every morning thinking about how much damage has been done to this little boy. And I pray, and again, my faith has been really, really, really tested the last year and a half on all this. And I just don't understand why this could happen to my son. And he never wanted to be a girl. He never wanted to be a little girl. And again, that's why I know it has been pushed and forced upon my son at a very young age. At 2 years old is when this all started, at 2 years old. And the role of the father is to protect the family or protect his kids. And I have not been able to protect my son. And that's the hardest part. Men are known for hunter-gatherers, warriors, and protectors. And I haven't been able to protect my son. And that's the hardest part, is not being able to protect my son. So I think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to protect my son. And hopefully I can get to him before puberty blockers and surgeries are on the table. Well, not on the table. I know they're on the table. They're not heavily talked about, but I know that they're on the table for my son. And that's absolutely terrifying to know that those things could possibly be in my son's future. Another thing that I have been completely cut out of my son's life. Pretty much from day one, since the first temporary restraining order, from day one, I was not allowed to go to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles to talk to Dr. Jonathan Juarez about the assessment. I hired my own child therapist. I know a lot of you may know this. Some of people may be new, but I was not allowed to sit in on the gender assessment. I hired my own child therapist to sit in, not to sway left, not to sway right, but just to listen to how they were going to get to point A to point Z and so on. That was denied. And I was also denied a phone call from Dr. Jonathan Juarez at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. And so from this day, I have not been able to talk to him. It's been almost 2 years, and Dr. Jonathan Juarez has not gotten the father's outlook or the father's feelings or the father's thoughts on what is going on with his son. It's always been one-sided. And never at this time have they ever sat me down and asked the father what he thinks is going on with his son, how he feels what's going on. It's always been the other side of this. I mean, I don't think that's right. They should have at least, I said it in court not millions of times, but hundreds of times. If you guys would have sat me down in court, all of us, like I requested, and to ask the father what he thinks is going on with his son, you wouldn't have the pissed off father that you have on your hands today. But because you guys never did that, I mean, it took me a year between all the attorneys. It took me a year to get updates from my son's school. I was paying his private school, and it took him a year to get me updates on his school. That was another failure on the attorney's parts. The other failure, we went 4 or 5 months to get visitations. And they put 3 stipulations in front of me. 1, I needed supervised visitations. 2, I couldn't talk about male things. And 3, I couldn't talk about his attire. So it took me about a month to sit down with family to ask what is going on. And finally I came to terms, all right, fine, let's do the supervised visitations. That way I get my son back in my life. And every time I agreed to one of their roadblocks, they roadblocked me again. They roadblocked me again. They roadblocked me again. And finally, I received an email like 5 months or 6 months after the negotiation saying, Adam, sorry, but we dropped the ball. Mind you guys, I was emailing and I was calling. Do I need to call the supervisor? how much are supervised visitations? How much is it going to cost me? What is it going to take to get my son back? And every time they kept roadblocking and roadblocking me, and they did that with the grandparents. The attorneys never told Judge Harvey Silverman out of Pasadena that there was grandparents involved. And in court, Harvey Silverman said that if he would have known grandparents were involved, he would have granted supervised visitations. He looked at minors counsel and he told minors counsel, I want visitation to be set right away for the grandparents. We're a year down the road, folks, and there has been no contact with minors counsel. Minors counsel did not set up any visitations. They have criminalized me, and they have criminalized Aiden's grandparents. Aiden's grandparents haven't seen their first grandson in almost 4 years, and they have done nothing wrong. They had done absolutely nothing wrong to be kept out of that child's life. The only reason why they were kept out of that child's life is because the grandparents were not gender affirming. That's what they said in court. That's what they said in court. Because they said they heard my father on a phone call with opposing counsel say, stop dressing my grandson in girls' clothes. And that's what they got. That's what got them taken off visitation. Not because of anything criminal. They always they criminalized the grandparents. And that's another thing that I want to talk about on this podcast is grandparents' rights. Because the grandparents have been basically stripped away from their grandson. It's been really, really heartbreaking for my mom, for my dad. Anyways, I'm going on. I want to keep this live somewhat short to give you some of my goals and my thoughts for this podcast. I'm going to really bring on people that are going to help and shed light on what's going on here in California, what's going on across the board. And I hope that's going to be helpful to grandparents, parents, fathers, mothers, kids, everything like that. I'm going to really try really hard to bring some eye-opening conversations to this podcast that will help parents out. So with that being said, I'm just going to keep it at 30 minutes today. Please remember, I'm going to keep mentioning it. You're probably going to get sick of it, but remember the CAO Act. This is going to be absolutely amazing for parents. This is going to help thousands, if not millions of kids and millions of parents, the CAO Act, if we can get this passed in the next few years. More to come on the CAO Act. And also remember, with all the crap that's going on in our schools, all the books that are going on in our schools, please go visit Patriot Barbie's website. Pick up yourself a book of alphabet prayers for toddlers. This is a great book, folks. Really, really good book. And last but not least, Freedom Water. Quench your thirst, especially if you're a blue-collar guy. It's getting hot out there. I got a lot of friends in Arizona. I checked the weather today. It was 115. You're going to have to stay hydrated. Blue-collar guys, get yourself some Freedom Water, a non-woke company, and drink Freedom Water. Guys, I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate all the positive messages. Some of them are not so positive. I think the last one I got was, I think it's time that you hold a funeral for your son and start accepting your daughter. Well, I don't have a daughter. I have a son, to that follower. But again, that's the last of it. Father, speak up. I see you, brother. Please contact me. I want to get you on here and talk about your movement, all right? And thank you, folks. Remember, keep all your fingers and all your toes this coming 4th of July. Have fun. But let's remember what 4th of July is all about. If it wasn't for 3% of the population, we would all be drinking tea instead of coffee, and we'd all have messed up teeth. So thank you, everybody. God bless. And